start over. Hold on. Chidanand
Tony, help me out, bhai. Help me out, Tony.
Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidanand Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham.
Shri Guru Varnama Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guru Varnama.
Namaste.
Pranam.
And
Jai
Jai
Ho.
Ho. All right. It's been a little while.
It is.
Is it chai cool?
No, I think it's time.
No, we reheat the chai, so we're back. Happy to be back, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Chai Bhais podcast. It's been a little while.
It's been a little bit.
We are so excited to bring you this podcast, and we've got some very exciting topics that we want to talk about. And most importantly, we have partnered with CapturedWithVishan, who, as you guys can already see, I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to see. I already know, the layout, the visuals, the quality.
That's one thing that we wanted to bring is that, we have an amazing message. The message that we propagate, and it's all about Dharma. It's about bringing Dharma to the forefront and bringing awareness. And there's only one way to do it, and it's with quality. And so we've decided to partner with CapturedWithVishan to bring that quality to you. And we do hope and pray that you all enjoy it. But, now that the chai has been reheated,
Yes.
just to rehash, it's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit. And honestly, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the biggest things that, to be honest, people would say. I'd see people and they'd be like, when is the next episode dropping? And, we enjoy what we do. We enjoy, being pundits. We enjoy spreading Dharma. We
having
enjoy
this conversation
about it. Both of us don't really enjoy the behind the scenes, the editing, the cameras, the sound and all that, which is why we've got a great partner, and it allows us to focus on.
And Neil did a great job as well.
Yeah, but it was a lot. That's not my specialty. And,
we did our best.
We did.
Only the best for the best, and you guys are the best. So
absolutely,
we wanted to bring that for you.
And this Dharma really is worth it. And we both, we enjoy, like I said, what we do. And this Dharma brings us so much fulfillment. There's so much meaning behind, being able to inherit something that has existed for thousands and thousands of years. And now we have the opportunity here in this generation to be stewards of Dharma, and we don't take ourselves, number one, we try to approach this with a sense of humility. I think that's why we get along so well, a sense of humor as well. And, we're just two instruments of that divine that have been blessed to be able to walk this path, to meet each other.
By this path in that way that we know the richness, we know what it can do, what it has done for us, and what it can do for the bigger picture.
For sure.
And so we're back, and we're ready to rock.
Ready to go. And we will have consistent episodes. I don't know what that will look like, but we definitely will have consistency moving forward. And one of the things we always feed off of you and your comments, and you've all been so gracious with your engagement,
your experience, sharing your experiences.
Absolutely,
it's a really big thing that allows us to have some context to what we want to speak about, and this conversations we should be having.
And this is part, we're part of this community. We're part of the Indo-West Indian community, the Hindu community, and just a community in the United States, at large. And we want to include your voices, your feedback, your experiences, and how we can make this journey even better.
Our Dharma has spread. It's not just in Bharat. It's not just in India.
Yeah.
It's not just in, Guyana, Trinidad, Suriname, South Africa. It's all over the world. And I think, especially through the medium in which we're using, right?
Yeah.
Social media, we're able to connect with people who really need these words.
Absolutely.
If it's not the word, it's at least being able to have a guide.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to know, Dharma is so vast. And I think sometimes because Dharma is so vast, number one, we lose track. We get lost, we get lost in the sauce, so to speak.
Get lost in this.
Yeah. The dal, get lost in the dal.
We'll figure something out.
And no, but also you become overwhelmed, and I think that's kind of where we wanted to position this first episode back, because it's something we've touched on briefly before, but more so for this conversation, why young people, especially young people who may have grown up in Dharma, in Hinduism, can't feel to find a place, can't seem to find a home. And a lot of them are either leaving Dharma completely,
or disassociating.
They're just disassociating, and their spiritual path has just stopped. And they're just so caught up in everything else and trying to find.
And many turning to spirituality. Right?
Yeah.
Spirituality is a whole new path.
Right.
That has taken many tenets from Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah.
And not knowing they're practicing their own path.
Absolutely.
Innately, that they were born into.
Yeah.
We've talked about many things in the past. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
my view of Dharma and spirituality is that there's no separation.
Right.
Dharma and spirituality mesh, right? And there's it's a few things, but I think the main things are that sometimes, because we don't have proper definitions or proper systems in place in Dharma, that we have lost things like, we talked about yoga, we've lost kind of yoga. The identity of yoga has kind of shifted from that dharmic perspective to now it's just seen as exercise, right? In the same way, meditation, we've kind of lost that. And even, a lot of people, some of the other faiths, like even like Buddhism and even Jainism and, some of these other faiths and just plain spirituality, spiritual connection, it all originated in some aspect in Dharma.
Sure.
And how do we bring that back? How do we make that relevant? How do we make it appealing to kids, especially
today?
Yeah.
We're blessed to have been impacted very young.
Yeah.
And not just superficially, like we're talking about. Our generation was a generation where we weren't just performing puja or just doing the havans.
Yeah.
We were the generation of internet.
Right.
And meditation was something that we were able to learn about. And for myself, I know you as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main things that, it's a big part of yoga as well. It's a big part
100%
of opening your awareness.
Ashtanga, we talked about Ashtanga yoga, the
eight limbs.
8 limbs of yoga. It's, yamas and niyamas. Then we have asanas. Then we have pranayam. And then we start getting into, once you deal with the
prerequisite stuff.
Yes, these were the
before you're eligible to actually have access to such divine consciousness.
Absolutely.
It's beautifully said, brother.
Yeah.
And these are practices that we want to have conversations about as well.
Yeah.
Just like we've been stating previously, it's gone are the days where we can use the answers that we were given growing up. Hanumanji is gonna come save the day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he will, but how?
Yeah.
And that's a whole different topic.
One of the things that I grew up learning is that God helps those who helps themselves. Right? You have to bring yourself to that awareness to be ready to be saved. Right. And a lot of that, what our Dharma teaches us, is that you have the power within you. Like, we all have the power of that divine within every single one of us. And we can unlock it. Of course, there is guidance and there's things that we can do to tap into that vast ocean of everything.
Bhakti Sagar. Yeah.
Right.
And this is why they say, Bade bhagya se is manushya na paya. By great fortune, we've been given an opportunity as human beings to have an experience where we can enjoy our lives, right? Enjoy your life. But this human body is sadhana mokshadam kardwara, right?
Yeah.
It says that this is the direct way, the direct path to liberation of the soul.
100%.
And while we're alive, we should be able to tap into that.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to try to make more realistic for us.
So before we can maybe try to give some things to bring people back or to help someone, if you are out there, maybe you might have gone through this, some of this might be resonating with you. Let us know what has happened in your life, what has caused you maybe to drift away from spirituality. There's certain things that we've seen, that we've experienced, of course, and I think, one of the things that is so relevant and so this conversation cannot happen without is the impact of the modern culture, and more so social media, and what that has on our youth.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it all throughout, right?
Good and bad.
Yeah.
And in the Maya, there's light. There's always, in the darkness, we got to be the light
Yeah.
in that, sea of darkness. And
Well, how can, it's hard to find the light when there's so many different avenues of distraction, and so many, social media exists for one purpose, and that is instant gratification. And sometimes that conflicts with dharma. That conflicts with the sadhana, and the modes, and the focus,
it's
and
a
the
whole virtual
discipline.
reality.
Yeah,
It's a whole realm in its own.
right. And it doesn't just happen.
No,
Right. And it develops slowly sometimes, and especially if you have some, struggles in the beginning where you need to burn off those negativities to be able to
Get a
be in
grasp.
position, yeah, exactly, to get a grasp of where you can come in, and
even be aware of the awareness.
yes,
Right?
there you go. 100%.
It's
Where you can be aware of the awareness, because we don't have an awareness of the awareness that we can even have.
right.
It seems like a lot. That seems just like a lot of, but no, I think,
Follow us.
but yeah, follow us, and let's, like I was saying, if you experience this in your life, let us know. I can say personally that I have seen this. I've seen this on the good side and the bad side, is that it all starts in our mandirs.
100%.
I think growing up, even as a child, a lot of mandirs, sometimes it hasn't always been welcoming, and that's what I hear a lot from kids. That they go into a mandir and they just feel isolated. They feel like they've got their own thing going on, and we can't break into that.
Right.
Or we can't find that connection, and that's the time where we're supposed to be connecting with God, right? And if we dedicate, let's say, 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday, and that kid or that child is not finding that connection in those hours, then they've got the rest of the week, all the hours that are feeding other things, all the different distractions, all the different things into their mind. And, where is that pull?
How deep is the anger even on that Sunday is what we're trying to
The
get.
anchor.
Yeah, the
Right,
anchor.
right.
Like you said, it's only 2 to 3 hours you get on a Sunday.
Yeah,
There's 24 hours in the day.
yeah.
And depending on how well of a Sunday you had, or how aware you were, or
Yeah.
even the message that is being propagated in your temple, is
Yeah.
it something that is going to help you deepen that anchor?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that's going to even hit the surface?
Yeah.
Um,
Is it something that's going to stay with you when you, much less for the whole week, but when you leave that Monday and you go home?
after a game of Fortnite,
Right.
had to bring it back.
Yep, Fortnite. Watch that one back, Fortnite, and the whole spiritual.
Give some context to what we're talking about right now.
People still play Fortnite, right? I don't want to seem like a boomer. I'm not a boomer, by the way, but sometimes I feel like it, man. We just had our camp with the kids. Well, we're still having it. We're not having it this weekend, but man, these kids are so sharp. I don't think I was that sharp.
Different generation,
and all the their minds are just moving. Their minds, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the good and the bad of what's around and everything. All the information that's being fed into them, it's double-edged sword. But I look at it from the positive. At least the time that I got to spend with them.
And that's it starts. The Mondays are a big part of it.
Yeah,
right? But it does start at home. And
right.
One thing that we also are seeing is our generation, right? Our friends with their children,
absolutely,
growing up, and many of them having a deeper impact later on in life.
Yeah.
and it's such an honor to witness witness them sharing that with their children at the very. And this is where we go back into sanskars, right?
Yeah.
There's a prenatal, and then we come into when we're live and direct, and then Ram Nam Satya Hai, and everything in between. But all in all, I think it's something worth preserving, and
we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't see the value. And I think that's kind of where, we even, I look at myself like, as someone who's only scratched the surface of dharma. And even for that, where I see, it's like it becomes this feeling and this bliss that you can't really put into words.
Yeah.
It's a chase, but it's also like not in the chase of the material where you just want, okay, give me more. But it's also like you're content, but also you're like ready for more at the same time.
You're excited for what else is to come.
Right.
Because this is a beautiful thing about that divine light.
Yeah.
Right? It can only get brighter.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
It's a sign that our mind is growing, our consciousness is elevating.
Yeah.
And that's what we call Anand, divine bliss.
Divine bliss. Absolutely. That is one of the benefits of a spiritual practice that is consistent, is disciplined, and is targeted towards something with a specific purpose.
Right. If you're doing a sadhana, whether you're doing wherever the mission is, sadhana can be that mission. Your sadhana can be that mission, whether it's to be a good father, a good mother, to be a good upasak, a good meditator, someone who's trying to do their best to develop spiritually through meditation, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And
I think you brought up a good point, where you talked about the mandirs, and also being able to, how do we maximize the time in the mandirs, number one, but also how do we maximize the time outside of that, right? How do we develop that practice? Is not going to stop. And I think that's kind of where I was growing up. Like the focus was just on Sundays, or just whenever you would go to mandir, right? Or
camp was something we both grew up,
right? Or even the festivals, right? You would maybe just go for some people just go for Diwali, and
that's it,
or that's it, and no or Shivratri, and no judging
whatsoever. It's something that we think growing up. I always thought that everyone went to all of them. And then when you move to a different place, you're like, oh wait, no. What is that? What is Ram Navami? And not to judge, but it just goes to show impact at a young age. It does a lot in the later times. When you may need that impact.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it starts with the parents. I think we're seeing the good side of it is a lot of our friends who grew up and who are having families of their own and have kids and want them to grow into this, because maybe they had it. They had, either it was in Florida or New York or somewhere else, or maybe they didn't, and they want their kids to have that now, right? But I think it has to start with the parents. We hear all the time, parents even a lot of older parents would say, mandir is important. You got to go to mandir, and then they don't go,
right?
But they expect the kids to somehow have that connection
and have that understanding. Yeah, because we actually went. Yeah, we went, and we had to. Not that we were forced to,
right?
But we were interested. Yeah, and we absorbed what was going on. Yeah, this generation, there's no prerequisite knowledge of them going.
Well,
I mean, I won't say none, but
Well, I mean, looking back at it now, as somebody who my story. I didn't grow up Hindu. I didn't attend my first mandir until I moved when I was 11, and I moved over here. Right. So in the beginning, I was kind of forced because I didn't see the benefit of it. But then once you started, and I think what helped me is the involvement. Once you started doing something in the mandir, once it stopped feeling as a place that was unwelcoming, and you felt included.
Tasted the sugar in the chai.
You got a taste of what dharma is through involvement, through engagement. And I think that's where every mandir, that should be the number one purpose. How do you develop the next generation? And a lot of mandirs say that, oh yeah, but we're doing this. We let the kids sing a bhajan, or we let the kid, come read something from this. That is the bare minimum.
Right.
That is the
They can
absolute
read
minimum.
it, but what are they absorbing?
Yeah, do they understand it?
And they're just you're just giving them something Sunday morning.
Yeah,
You're not giving
exactly.
you give them Sunday, and you
Yeah.
tell them to absorb it through the week.
Right.
And we're not telling anyone how to do anything, right? This is just things that we grew up
And what we
experienced, and
Yeah.
what we have to talk about in this respect. I mean, when it comes to mandir as well as purohits, I go to different temples,
Yeah.
right? If they need assistance,
Yeah.
me and my dharmapatni and now my son,
Yeah, you guys are
we-
great for that.
we
That's
try our
what you
best to do what we can to help our dharma,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes when I speak on certain topics,
Yeah.
I guess certain temples don't want to go too deep,
Yeah.
and this topic might have to get.
Yeah,
I might have to,
we might
but
edit some
I'm just gonna
stuff. Who
verbalize
knows?
it.
Like we said before, we
It's-
might
it-
edit out some stuff, but
It's just one of those things where I might get into like meditation, I might
Yeah.
get into chakras, and then um, I'll be told that, hey, we want to hear Ramayana.
yeah,
We want to hear Ramayana.
Yeah.
We want to hear Gita.
yeah,
Um, and don't get me wrong, the Ramayana and the Gita, they have wonderful messages, but we are born into such a rich path that teaches us spiritual sciences
Mhm.
that are meant to be done every single day, let alone once a week on Sunday.
Yeah.
And these are just minute things like meditation and understanding the spiritual. We have the physical muscles and understanding that we've got spiritual muscles that are meant to be energized and worked out.
Yeah.
And we start our day with that and then absorb the messages.
Yeah.
We're able to really absorb them and understand them on a spiritual level.
Right.
And these are little things that I've been told, hey, we don't want to hear about that. and to each their own, right? I'm here to serve. We're
Yeah.
here to serve. But it's just also comfort, right?
It is a little
Getting out of the comfort level. And then what does that show to our children? This is one of the
That's it
reasons
right
why
there.
the next generation,
Yeah.
they don't gravitate towards
Yeah.
the Ramayana and the Gita because they weren't brought up in a way where that was the medium in which they
Yeah.
absorbed knowledge, right? Through listening to Chai Bhais and dohas and
Yeah.
shloks. And don't get me wrong, we have to give it to them. We have to, but there's a process. And these spiritual science help to really exponentially make those experiences more
Mhm.
potent when we're in satsang.
Absolutely.
It's a little deep, but at the same time, it's waters that we should be treading in
But
on a normal basis.
yeah, and that's the foundation.
That is
That is
where the Vedas came from.
Yes.
Through that process. The authority in Sanatana Dharma came from that very process of meditation. The
Mhm.
seers, right? The rishis and the munis, seers that see, that were able to, through meditation, acquire that message, and through Vakya,
Yeah.
right? We're orally transferring that, but also the mantras gave the vibration, and that's how you're on the right path.
Oh.
And I'm trying to cover a lot
No,
in this little because
I'm glad you said that and not me, because I've said that the Vedas are the highest the highest scripture in Sanatana Dharma, and sometimes people have told me that, oh, why are you being discriminative to other texts?
Just because you're Samaj?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, and that's something we'll need to get into at one point.
Yeah,
but you brought up a really good point again, because that is it. Like, I look at it like, how many times are you going to hear the same story of the Ramayana or the Gita or the Mahabharata? All these stories that you hear over and over and over again. And they're beautiful stories, don't get me wrong. But if you're just superficially hearing a story and trying to find a connection behind it, then at some point, how many times can you watch the same movie over and over again?
Right.
Right? Unless it's K-pop Demon Hunters, and the kids can, watch that over and over.
But I don't know about.
Yeah.
You got me this time.
Sorry.
You got me this time.
But no, like, I'm serious. But how do you find the value in the stories? It's like you said, how does a story connect to me? How does the impact of that, what is happening in the Ramayana? What is the battle that is going on in Sri Ram? I was reading, I don't know if you, and I don't want to get off topic, but I don't know if you saw the new Ramayana trailer. And we could
I'm leaving.
We could, sorry.
I'm just
But
kidding.
no. I the scene where after Sita gets kidnapped, and I started diving into the chapter of Rama Krodha, where he, he is like, he's angry, but he is
despair.
He is in despair, but he is still measured, right? But the words and how he is saying it, it's very emotional. And that was kind of the thing. Like, we often hear about Ramayana, and we know the basic of it, right? Sita gets kidnapped, Ram goes and saves her, and that's it, But the emotions in every single chaupai, in every single, moment, in every, yes.
When it comes to the different Ramayans that we spoke about this, it's that's another thing that will be confusing for the next generation.
Yeah.
That leaves that whole gap. Like, which Ramayana?
Yeah.
And then the next week they'll hear, oh, this Ramayana.
Yeah.
And then the differences and
but you know
not
what?
understanding the spiritual significance, the symbolism behind each character.
And I think this is where, they are, before anything, before we can even move on with this topic, I think we need to have a disclaimer in that, there are nefarious forces out there that want to pull people away from Dharma. And there are people who want to, would like to have all Hindus convert and abandon their ancestral and indigenous culture for something else. And some of these, you listen to the playbook of what they do, and sometimes this is what they say. They say that, well, Hindus don't know which scripture to follow, or even which Ramayana to follow. Right. And I think that, and we, somebody who maybe grew up and not having that connection to Dharma, maybe like say, yeah, it seems kind of confusing. It seems kind of overwhelming, like all these different things that are going on. Where do I even go? Like, and why are there so many different things that I need to learn, or I need to take in? But I think that is the beauty of Dharma. We don't have a book, we have a library.
Right.
And every single scripture, and even every single component of the scriptures, can teach us something and can connect us back to something much deeper. And that is the missing connection that we have. And that is where we haven't been able, and I will take responsibility for this, and I will also hope that previous generations will, but to be honest, a lot of them won't. And I'm just, no offense to anybody, but this is just the reality of it, right? The previous generation has done a disservice to Dharma on a whole. I'm not speaking about anybody individually. I'm talking about as a whole. The previous generations have done a disservice to be able to impart that knowledge in a practical way, so that we can grow in Dharma. And we're not just growing in how many people we got at our mandirs, or how many people show up at our yagya to hear us sing and speak and, make us feel nice because we got all these people here coming and, to see us, right? That's not what it's about. That's not what Dharma is about. That's That's a beautiful, like, we enjoy that. We enjoy being part of those congregations for the most part.
That's our generation.
For the most part. I mean, sometimes,
it can be much.
It can be much, and especially when, you can see
you
other things going on. But regardless, that's not what I was going to say. But there is a greater purpose to why all of this was handed down. And it wasn't to make us feel good about ourselves. It's to make us feel connected with something greater than ourselves.
Let us know that we're exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And the second that realization is there, and that's why we go back to the bigger picture again, right? We spoke about this previously. It is getting that direction, right? How do we move forward?
Yeah.
How do we move forward? Where are we in this journey?
Yeah.
Where, especially when it comes to not just Ramayana, not just scriptures.
Yeah.
But again, to that awareness.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part, because it gets confusing. It gets confusing in a sense that, okay, what is Arya Samaj? What is Sanatana Dharma? These are common struggles that are happening today in our generation, where again we were talking about the like Sanatan, Aryan, Mahabharata. We're one family.
Yeah. And this has going on like throughout history. The different sampradayas and all the different,
the word right there.
Yeah, the different schools
right.
of Dharma that has served to enhance each other, right? Because what would happen? They would have respectful debates. They would say, this is what I believe. Yeah. Right? This is what I believe, and this is what, my thinking is, and how do and they would challenge the other person, and then the other person has to think, of a concept, and then their knowledge. And I don't know if you
debates,
right,
Adi Shankaracharya,
absolutely, Adi Shankaracharya saved Dharma in many aspects,
especially when it comes to, and that's why I use the words allowing us to know where we are, right? That this connection is always there.
Yeah,
Atma and Paramatma are always connected.
Yeah.
It's just that through karma,
yeah,
we're stuck in the stardust.
yeah.
And he teaches us so, and then so
Well, I think on that note, you think about what Adi Shankaracharya was facing at the time. In Dharma, I don't think it was. I mean, who knows? I can't speak for that time, but a lot of the same themes and the same struggles were there with him. And what did he do? Like, how did he bring people back? He brought them back through making them feel connected to the Dharma. He explained basic concepts, shivoham, shivoham, right? I mean, the
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, through the medium of this consciousness and this awareness. I'm aware that I am one with you, Shiva, God. Even the word God limits Paramatma.
Yeah.
Paramatma, the supreme soul.
Yeah.
It's just we're caught in the stardust.
Taught that in camp this week, right?
It's a beautiful
Param
thing.
Atma, and that's where you start. Like, so if you're a young person and you're watching this and you've stayed with us for so long, thank you. But number one, if you are feeling maybe a calling back to Dharma, or the complete opposite, maybe you feel like a complete isolation from Dharma, then the first thing where we have to start is, who are you, and who is all of us? And it starts with that deeper Atma. And that deeper Atma connects to a Paramatma, where we all come from and where we all hope to go. And, some people think that when you die is when you go back to God. But the beauty about Dharma, and even we go back to Ashtanga Yoga.
It's the truth we speak.
True thing.
I think, let me see. I think he's trying to say something. The misconception of Dharma, of moksha, is that you'd have to die to get it.
Right? You're gonna throw me out.
Chidananda Rupa Shivo. I don't play guitar. Okay, we start over. Hold on. Chidananda
Tony, help me out, bye. Help me out, Tony.
Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
See, this is no offense, but let me get
It's all yours.
No. But you see, this is what happens. But no, great point. It's that it's a simple thought. Shivoham, Shivoham. And then he goes through the Atma Shatakam or the Nirvana Shatakam. He talks about all the things that you are not.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that we are not, any one of us. And that was where I was going, is that any young people that might be watching this, who might feel a calling back to Dharma, to understand your Atma. Your Atma connects back to that Paramatma, and that connection doesn't stop when you come into this world, and it's not like it's waiting for you to die so you can have it again.
Right.
It's that constant practice of connection and not looking anywhere outside, but looking within you. The stronger your connection inside becomes, the more
The awareness.
the awareness is.
And another thing, that it's not a constant cycle. It's constant depending on the actions performed while embodied.
Yeah.
And so this is where we get into karma, right? Karam ka khel nirala hai. The game of karma is like no other. And when it comes to prarabdha, we go through things in our life and we're like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
And this is where these practices that we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? That awareness allows us to have peace with these events, rather than calling us and saying, can you open book?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging anyone, or we're not making fun.
Yeah.
But
that's usually the first place people go whenever they try to find a connection to spirituality.
And that anchors you right back into
Right.
the Maya, into not the Maya, but into the physicality. The planets are wonderful. They help us, they help us to relieve ourselves of many karma that is negative in aspect. But when it comes to your own awareness and your own development, these spiritual muscles and this lens here allows you to see clearly why it is that we're experiencing these specific things,
Right.
especially with individuals. We have connections with folks that
Yeah.
the first time we meet, and we don't understand
Well,
what is this.
And I don't, like I said, I don't think of myself as better than anybody, but when you're doing this for long enough, you read energy. Energy, you just read it, and you're not always correct, but I think there's that trust but verify. But then when positive energy in someone, radiates, I think you're able to find that connection, and you're able to see it.
Real recognize real.
Real recognize real. Real what?
Real energy recognize.
Real energy. Okay,
Right.
okay.
What were you going?
I don't know. I don't know where I was going, but maybe fill in the blank. Maybe not. Maybe don't fill in the blank. But no. But that's the thing, right? You once you take care of what's going on within, and trust me, it's a lot easier said than done. And this is a big part of it because we have so many struggles that are going on, and outside that affects our inside. But I always find, and this is what I tell, in pretty much every yagya and every hava and in any time I can, is that if you galvanize your own internal capacity to experience what is happening around you, if you can build up the strength from within, then the impact from outside becomes much and much less impactful in your life. And that is a constant practice. It's also, we go back to that word awareness.
Yes.
Right? We go back to that word awareness. Is that how do you break away from, something that is happening that is just making you feel so small and making you feel so overwhelmed in that moment, right? But through constant remembrance and focus, then you know that really within me, none of this even matters. None of this is permanent. None of this this is all, like you said, Maya. Right? Maya. Call back. But yeah, I think one thing, so if we were to we're advising anyone that might be going through this, what are some things that you would recommend for someone to do? And I can tell you, number one is to start a daily practice, a daily sadhana somehow. It doesn't have to be,
meditation.
It doesn't have, diving in.
I would recommend it highly.
Yeah, but even like a mindset shift of, what I do first thing is when your eyes open, you offer a prayer. And that can be, if you know a mantra, you offer it. But even that moment of gratitude, and that connects you to something much greater. And then the last thing that you do, if you're not doing this right now, I strongly recommend you try it. And don't just try it for a few, one day and skip a day and think. Try it and be intentional with it. And
that's the important word right there.
Right.
Intentional, right? This is where the physical aspects and of what you're doing and the ritualistic aspects, they are not really as important as your intention. Your intention is to get the benefits spiritually and to develop, right? And what I would recommend as well is, we're all part of different paths. Many of us are part of many different paths.
Yeah.
Speak to your elders, try to talk to your parents and see what's one small practice that I can do every day. But meditation is the greatest medication.
100%.
Tan man vachan, say mind, body, and word. It helps you with the physical strength. The yoga is part of the physical strength, but it also helps with physical strength, emotional strength, keeping control of your emotions and keeping control of your thoughts. We're in an age of where mental health is, it is really, what's the word?
Important.
It's
and it's evident, in so much of what is out there.
But also the spiritual strength. Yeah. That's a big part of it. And it's kind of like your vitamins.
Let me ask you something, not to put you on the spot, because I think some people, when they think about meditation, number one, it probably makes them feel very it's a daunting thing, because there's a perception that well, before I give you mine, what do you interpret as meditation, and what do you find?
That's a really good question, because especially when it comes to, the different paths of Sanatana Dharma, we've got all these devis, all these devtas, and some will take their japmala and they'll be doing just chanting the name of
mala jap.
That's nam
Mantra
japa,
jap,
right, through the mantra or through the deity's name, and they will call that meditation. But there's a level deeper to it that we were mentioning. There's the physical muscles that we work out to get big muscles like me. Right? What are you laughing at?
No. Let me see. Oh, wait there.
But the spiritual muscles, those are really, I'm ripped in that aspect. The spiritual muscles, right? There's 7 main ones, right? From the base of your spine, the Mooladhara, going up to the 1,000 petal. It's a plant, and everything that we're doing around us to stay in the climate, we're fertilizing the soul for that development spiritually, right? The 1,000 petal lotus is not just a regular lotus. It's done through cultivating the Mooladhara. Mool means root. Adhara is the foundation, right? The root foundation. Spiritually, this is what really gives you control and gives you intention of your path. And then as you spiritually develop, you go up to your sacral, you go up to your heart, to your throat, your third eye. Your ajna helps you to see the world through a spiritual lens. And then you have the 1,000 petal lotus. Through that process of spiritual surrender and developing, you're able to let that bloom. And this is the awareness that we're talking about.
I love that.
This
That
is the
is
awareness.
so beautiful.
And this is the meditation that I speak of, right? Lord Krishna in chapter 6 in the Gita, check it out. I'm not going to tell you which verse. Look at the whole chapter.
Read the whole thing.
He teaches
Read the whole thing.
There's a guidebook. He's sitting. Read the whole chapter. Read the whole book.
Read the whole. Read the whole book. You should not give them the chapter. You should have just said a chapter.
Well, we'll start shallow in.
All right, give them chapter 6.
Give them chapter 6.
Yeah.
Better be chapter 6, right?
yeah, it is.
If not, you'll find it.
Yeah.
But he gives a little crash course on meditation.
Yeah.
How to sit, how to focus your mind,
Yeah.
and how this physical body is the medium of it. How you can how it's it's not easy. It's just like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about this before.
Absolutely.
But first time you go to the gym, you get sore. You don't get a 6-pack the first day, right?
I wish. But I'm feeling it right now. You just start back, but you're sore.
You're sore.
And
through practice, you can't do without it.
Exactly.
And the benefits are more than physical.
You see a lot of, and this is why I think when you talk a lot about spiritual science.
Yeah.
And Vigyan, right? And it's not just religion. It's not even just doing something repeatedly, but these are cultivating different traits and different aspects of your life, of your being. Absolutely. And this is why you see that it applies in so many different aspects. It's not just in the internal spirituality, but it's the physical, right? You see the same discipline that you can apply to your physical well-being with your the food, the discipline that you apply to the food, your diet, what you eat, what you put into your body, how you treat people, how you speak to people, how you react in situations of stress. These all things intertwine. And this is what true spiritual science and spiritual development is to me. And I'm so glad you gave a much higher level meditation definition than I would have, which I appreciate.
Why we're here. And
absolutely.
It's one of those things that, again, not just every Sunday.
Yeah.
It's not just meant to be done on Sunday mornings. This is like you go to the gym every morning. Some people wake up 5 o'clock in the morning to go gym.
Yeah.
But 24 hours of the day, like I said, there's a few minutes that's only you charge your phone for how long? Right. All night. And charge up yourself.
Exactly. Before you try for go 5 o'clock in the morning, go 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's where I am at right now.
Where you go?
Yeah, EOS. Well, yeah. But no, but it's so true, man. And I think diving into the deeper spiritual meaning, like you talked about with the chakras, and understand what is going on when you're meditating is important. But for a lot of people, that might be daunting from the beginning. But I would say don't feel intimidated because, like he said, it starts just with one concept and just focusing on one baby step at a time. Spirituality has never been about perfection.
Right.
It's never been starting at your end. I think you talked about this before.
Right.
Where you talked about, we often think about when we, nothing else in life, we don't think about this way. Or maybe, but in spirituality, we often think about where we want to be.
Right.
And we don't think about where we at right now and being honest.
What has made us get to this?
Being honest with ourselves, where we are right now. And then what do we need to do to get there? And I can absolutely assure you that the work that you put in, like with anything else, but especially with spirituality, the work you put in will be worth it at the end. And not even at the end, at, a week, a month, a year, it'll be worth it.
Mafaleshu kadachana.
Beautiful.
We do it. We do the work to a point where you are feeling the benefits. You're not doing it for the benefits, but you know that this is the right way. You know, this is the path that is worth taking.
Yeah.
And so, it's saying just like, you're doing the action, you're doing it, but you're not worrying about the fruits. That's a big mindset to keep as well. Sorry, I just had to.
No, it's beautiful. And I think one last thing before we get ready to wrap up this episode is that we often hear about meditation as silencing the mind. And I always say, well, if you silence your mind, that's the last thing you do, right? The mind is never going to be silent, right? But what you silence is the distractions. You silence the things that will constantly come to you. And in meditation, you will find this. And even it'll happen as for practitioners of meditation who have been doing this for years. When you sit in meditation, thoughts will come. Depending on your emotional and your mental state, the thoughts will come, and you just have to welcome the thought.
Follow the thought.
Yes, you allow them to come, and you don't get consumed by it. You observe. You are an observer of this thought, and then you can focus on what your purpose is, for that session.
They say the mind is like a monkey.
The monkey mind.
Jumping, the monkey mind, jumping around from branch to branch.
Yeah.
But you've got to follow it eventually. It doesn't stay jumping, right?
Yeah.
And
so I think as we get ready to wrap up this episode, we think about, where we are right now in Dharma. And there's so many young people that have lost the connection. And I just want to let you know, no matter how far you are, how old you are even, or where you are in your life, where you are in your journey of spiritual knowledge or understanding, there is always a way back. There is always a path through, again, intention, through the right practices, the practices that work for you.
Right. Suggestion as well, when it comes to these practices, specifically the chakra meditation, it would be advised to find a guru.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why you're even performing these practices or doing these practices is because you have a mission. And the best way to be successful in a mission is by seeking assistance or guidance from someone who has done that mission time and time again, many times. And so if you're interested in that specific practice, try to find a guru around you. Try to find someone who, if you go to your mandir, I'm sure your Panditji will know, what chakra sadhana is. We don't even have to put this in the video, but
no, I think this is great, and I think
it's our responsibility.
Also, if you don't feel, and I think this is another thing which we didn't really dive into a whole lot, but a lot of people don't, like, either the mandir that they grew up wasn't a place where they feel comfortable going. Right. But there is someone out there. There is someone out there that is ready to help you. And, there's so many different avenues right now that you can take.
And let us know what your path is. Let us know what experiences you have had and you're having now. These are things that allow us to continue the conversations and even if there's something that we may know that could help in your moving forward in your development, we would be more than happy to bring it to the forefront for you, because our mission is to not to technically follow all the paths, but I think it's our duty to be aware of the many different paths
to understand. To understand the many different paths.
Full circle.
Yeah.
The truth is one, but the knowers and the seers have dissected it and given us such a wonderful roadmap to understand that. And
the vastness of Dharma has always been its strength. And with the vastness comes all the different ways that you can connect with it. And if you've tried something in the past and it didn't work for you, then maybe there is something else and there's another form, another modality of spirituality or spiritual practice that you may connect with better. Or maybe that was a while ago. Maybe you were in a different mindset where you are now. I encourage you to give it another shot. And let us know in the comments, maybe there was a topic that we spoke about that you'd like for us to expand upon, or you have a follow-up question. Just let us know. And this is kind of what we want to do with these conversations. Number one is to make Dharma relatable and to understand, the same struggles that you guys are feeling. These are the struggles that we had growing up that allowed us to get to the point.
And there's still struggles that we are experiencing that we'll get into maybe later on as time permits. But and
I think I think for the main thing is that, and I say this with all respect, is that what worked for your parents' generation and your grandparents' generation and their generation is not gonna work for us now. And
especially the generation after us.
Yeah, and I'm talking about on a larger scale. It might work in little pockets and little, for some people, but for the kids out there that have so many distractions and so many things that are thrown at them, we have to be able to consolidate an approach that will be relatable and help them find the true beauty in building up their internal, defenses.
Find them where they are and allow them to develop from their place. And
for sure,
that's why we're here.
We're here. Chai Bhais are back.
And the
tea get a little cold, but it's all right. We got it up.
We got more tea to go.
But yeah. And if you guys are watching this for the first time and wondering why I be a talk like this, then we talked about it in the previous episode, and we'll touch on it. We're both Guyanese, American, Indian. We've got all the above. But yeah, we try to make it relatable, and yeah. So we really appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone you think that can add value, and of course subscribe. Let us know in your comments. We welcome your engagement. This is what allows us to develop topics. Let us know what topics you want to hear. Anything else? Thank you, Vishan.
Thank you, CapturedWithVishan and your entire team. Bhaiya, Bobby.
Yeah.
This is what we want. Quality over quantity.
Encourage you to check them out as well. You can see from the quality of this entire production what to expect, and
you can follow Pandit Nial as well.
Right, and Dharma Central and Captured by Vishan.
Yeah, we've got a team, and then also East West Connection. We're relaunching. The team. We want to dedicate this first relaunch episode to our dear brothers Tony, to Danny, to our ancestors, our forefathers,
100%.
And we'll talk about them
here. Yeah, we'll talk about them in
full detail about them
maybe next time. We'll see. All right, namaste everyone. Thanks again, and Jai Ho.